The new Ford Bronco has been announced. Should Jeep be worried? Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. That's right, last night actually, the new Ford Bronco was announced. Pictures and data and all that kind of stuff is out. So I thought I'd take a look and see, is indeed it really going to be a threat to Jeep? Specifically, the Jeep Wrangler over there, and even my Jeep Gladiator back here. Now, of course, they're trucks, the Gladiators that is, but still. So what is the new Ford Bronco? Well, first of all, let's look at some specs, a little bit of info. It's offered in two engine levels, I guess, or options. 270 horsepower, 2.3 liter turbo, 4-cylinder. Why would you buy a 4-cylinder? I don't even know why they make 4 cylinders in SUV or heavier type vehicles, but you can get it in the Bronco. Or the 310 horsepower, 2.7 liter turbo 6. It does have 400 foot-pounds of torque, or pound-feet of torque, I should say. 310 horsepower, not too bad, more than my Tacoma up there, but it's not offered in a manual transmission. Now, you can get a manual transmission in the 4-cylinder. It's a 7-speed. 7-speed manual transmission in an SUV or off-road type vehicle. I will say the reason it's a 7-speed, it's really a 6-speed. But it has a low first gear for rock crawling and stuff like that. So I guess it's their answer to some sort of all-terrain setting. I don't know. It has independent front suspension, and the Ford guys say that that's for high-speed capability for the desert. Now, that is different than the Jeep, of course. My question is, how many people are going to be out doing high speeds in the desert? I don't know. Pricing. Let's talk about pricing. It's going to start at $28,000 for the Bronco Sport, which I believe is supposed to be available late this year. Depends on who you listen to. Some sites state that it's going to be available next year. And $30,000 for the Bronco. So apparently there's the Bronco, and then the Bronco Sport, and I don't know what else, but that's supposed to be available next spring. So, going to be a while for that. It does seem, which I think is smart, and this I think is a better approach than what Jeep did, is Ford is offering the lower end version of the Bronco first. As opposed to when Jeep released the Gladiator back here, they put out the most expensive one. I believe the Rubicon Super Duper was the first offered. Now, they do say it's to compete directly with the Jeep Wrangler. That would most likely mean this one right over here. They don't mention the Gladiator, but hey, they are both Jeeps, right? Let's see, there will be both 2-door and 4-door versions available with 6 trim and equipment levels. So, kudos to them. They are going to give you a wide variety of choices, which I think is nice, you know. There will be several suspension setups offered, including a Sasquatch package. Not sure where they got that name, but the Sasquatch package. That's going to offer more off-road capability, they say, like 35-inch tires and a disconnectable stabilizer bar, amongst other things. That's the Sasquatch package. You can select from 7 driving modes. Ford calls this the GOAT system, G-O-A-T, or Go Over All Terrain. That's kind of hearkening back to the old days, the Go Over All Terrain or GOAT system. There is a 360-degree camera with a bird's eye view available, and I gotta say, that's pretty awesome. I have that on my Tacoma up there, and I use it all the time for pulling into tight spots or backing up in my driveway. It's very accurate and lets me know where I'm at, and I've got to assume that Ford's version is going to be pretty similar in the way that that it works. And there's going to be tons of other accessories and things and add-ons and stuff that you can do. I've heard that you can take the fenders off. Of course, you can remove the roof, you can remove the doors, trying to compete with the Jeep Wrangler again. So what do I think? Well, you know, I was really excited when I heard the Bronco was coming back. I like the Bronco, and I really like the removable top option. But this version, I don't know. I think it's another one of those, kind of like the Gladiator back here for me, that I'm going to have to see in person. You know, when the Gladiator first came out and I saw pictures of it, I wasn't feeling it, you know? I really didn't care for it much until I saw it in person and actually drove it. And it was just awesome to drive. Speaking of drive, by the way, the automatic version of the Bronco is going to have a 10-speed transmission. That should be cool. Toyota ought to be listening. I think it looks like an FJ Cruiser. I think it almost looks like they took an FJ Cruiser, kind of, at least the sport version, kind of smashed it in a little bit, kind of stomped it down just a hair. That's really what it kind of looks like to me. And I saw in some of the videos when they were out testing it, it was going across some pretty tough terrain. And I couldn't help but think, I saw something on the web recently, it was a bad road, and in some other country somewhere, and people were going around slower vehicles kind of on the edge of the road, which was filled with giant divots and potholes, and these vehicles were bouncing all over the place. I mean, actually getting off the ground. And when I saw Ford's footage of the Bronco, the new Bronco, off-road, going across some pretty severe terrain, it kind of reminded me of that. It was kind of laughable. It almost looked like the thing was doing this. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but it didn't look very impressive. I'm surprised that made it through edit. So would I get one? You know, I don't know. Like I said, it really kind of depends on what they look like in person. I mean, all we really have to go with so far are the aesthetics of it. So I kind of have to base my impression of it, I guess, on the aesthetics. And I gotta say, I'm not digging it. I'm not liking the proportions. I don't even like the way the top comes off, to be honest. What I remember of the old Broncos is the whole shell part just came off. And I know we have different rules and regulations now. You have to have something around the driver and the whole compartment, you know, in the form of a roll bar or protection or something like that. So you can't just have a shell that you just lift off and everything's open with just a windshield, which I think is pretty cool. I think that's a great look, but those days are gone, I suppose. From a capability standpoint, I would never touch a 4-cylinder in any kind of a heavier SUV type, Jeep type vehicle. I just don't think they have enough power. Whether it's turbo or not, I don't care. It is interesting that they have a turbo V6 coming out, and it all depends how they handle that turbo, I guess. Is it going to give you power evenly across the band, or is it going to be like a lot of turbos I've had, where when you get on it, the turbo spools out and then it's just gone? You know, I had a couple of Audi A4s. They were 4-cylinders, cars, of course, and they were turbos. And I gotta say, the way that Audi set that up, it was a smooth power delivery all the way across the band. You never felt like the turbo had spooled all the way out and it was gone. I really like that. Now, if Ford does that with the Bronco and the 6-cylinder motor, it could be kind of interesting. I am kind of confused that they're not offering a manual transmission in the V6. It's almost like they're handicapping it by putting it against a 4-cylinder motor that's probably going to be gutless and not much fun to drive. Who knows? One other thing that I do like about it, the technology. It's supposed to be loaded with technology, all kinds of modding options, accessories, things you can put on, things you can take off. I think that's awesome. For somebody like me, who basically lives an automotive modding life, that's very appealing. So time will tell. We'll see. Like I said, all we can judge it by right now are its aesthetics. I think the Jeep looks better. Both the Wrangler over there, which I've always loved, and the Gladiator. I don't really believe it's a huge competitor against the Gladiator. You know, maybe if they came out with a Bronco Gladiator-esque truck type vehicle, Maybe. And maybe they will down the road. Who knows? I mean, if they're going to attack Jeep, which they have, I guess, admitted, that's what they're doing, then they're going to have to come out with some kind of a Bronco-type truck. Don't think they'll do that because, of course, they have the Ranger, and they're not going to put something out there that's going to compete against the Ranger. I mean, that wouldn't make much sense. Why would they? So anyway, we'll see what happens. Time will tell. I'll be very curious to actually see one in person. Maybe take one for a test drive or something, see how it feels. I can't believe that it's going to be any more responsive or quicker than either one of the Jeeps that we have here behind us, because they are both awesome. Anyway, leave a comment down below if you saw the release, or if you haven't, go check it out. Take a look at the pictures and the capabilities of it, and let me know what you think. Is it something you'd be interested in, or is it a no? Also, real quick, if you haven't before and you're interested, check out my other channel. It is all about the 2020 Toyota Tacoma. That channel is Rob Motive. Also, don't forget to click that notification bell so that you don't miss out on any upcoming videos. And if you would, smash that subscribe button on the way out. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye.